What is up, everybody? I hope you are having an incredible Friday morning because what time is it? It is shred time. I cannot believe another week has gone by. We're already halfway through March. And ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you what, I have got a show for you today. I am hanging out with somebody that I just recently met. I heard her story. I've seen her from afar, and I'm like, I have got to get to know Jordan because what she is doing is absolutely inspirational. It's extraordinary. She's literally traveling the country in an RV, teaching people financial literacy in every stop that she goes to. And she's sharing her journey along the way. She is quite literally the mobile mortgage mom, and she has a story to share with you. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? Are you ready? It is time to shred. What is up? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Shred Show Live. As I mentioned, I love people in general, but as I got to know Jordan, as we spoke before the call and as we were speaking this morning, I am just so excited to even just share her journey and what she is doing because I've heard a lot of stories. I've talked to a lot of people in the mortgage industry. I've interviewed hundreds and hundreds of people, and this is the first time that I can say that I've literally interviewed somebody while they're in their RV along the road, literally going through. We're going to talk how many cities, how many miles she's doing, but it is such an amazing adventure. Jordan, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I love that intro. That was good. That's probably the most fun intro that I've had on a show before.
Well, if nothing else, that's about as good as we get. So we are just a downhill slope from here. So we started on a high note. But Jordan, first and foremost, you're a mortgage professional. You're out on the road. You're doing this, and I want to hear how you got started in the mortgage industry. We're going to talk about your incredible journey, but how did you get your start in this business?
So I started back in officially November of 2019. So just before COVID and the rates and all that good stuff. So I actually, a friend of a friend, I feel like every time I talk to somebody about it, they're like, yeah, we don't know how we got into the mortgage industry. We just kind of fell into it. And that's very, very much so with my situation. So a friend of a friend was in need of bringing on some new team members. And I had absolutely no experience at the time of doing mortgages. And I also lived in California, just outside of Los Angeles. And the company was based in Atlanta. I was selling curtain rods, was one of my 3 jobs at the time. And I was like, I'm just gonna reach out. I'm gonna take a chance. You never know. And she was like, I mean, let's have a couple interviews and see. And I got the job. I passed my test. And within 2 months, I moved all the way to Atlanta and started my career in mortgages.
Wow. So you weren't one of those playing with Barbies and selling, Barbie wasn't selling mortgages door to door. That's what most childhood dreams consist of, is playing with Barbies, right, and selling mortgages. But I love hearing stories because none of us expected to be in the mortgage industry the way that it always starts with, well, a friend of a friend. I love those ones because that's usually how it happens. Like, oh yeah, somebody told me there was the greatest opportunity. And not to say it's not. We all love, as mortgage and real estate professionals, we love doing this. And you in particular, now to where it's brought you, starting in 2019, going through the COVID days, seeing rates go incredibly low, and now where we're at, you said, hey, you know what? I want to do something a little bit different. I want to do something a little bit unique. So, I mean, tell me, how did this whole idea say, let's buy an RV, let's plaster my face on the side of it, and let's go on a journey? How did you possibly think of this?
I'll tell you right now, it definitely snowballed into this. This is not how we started. So we had to temporarily move back for some family stuff to California. And we said, okay, when that's done, we'll go ahead and go back to our house in Georgia. Well, I said, well, let's maybe make a couple weeks of it, and I'll see some agents and some clients I've worked with over the years that I've never been able to meet in person. And then that rolled into, well, if we're going to do that, we might as well try to push it a little bit longer and make it a month. And let's go ahead and see if we can talk to maybe some schools or some nonprofits. And because I always speak on financial literacy and the basics of getting into a home, let's see if we can partner up with some different communities and try to make that work. And then we spoke a little bit more in depth and quite a few conversations with my husband. And we said, well, if we're going to do this, we might as well, we're going to jump in the deep end. Like we never just like dip our toe. We fully commit. So we then made it into a full around the country tour, to say the least. And I said, well, if we're going to do that, we have to get a house on wheels. We can't just be living in the truck and having like a little small pull behind trailer. And we fully we got an RV. It's almost 40 feet. And then at that point, we said, well, we might as well brand it because we can't just be, I mean, we got to, again, fully jump into the deep end. And that's when we ran the idea and we found a wrap place. I didn't even know. I just Googled it and found one, and they did a fantastic job. And they wrapped my face on this RV. So it's been quite interesting, especially like just watching people walking by and they're like, what's going on over there? And yeah, so it's been fun. It's
I can only imagine. I bet it is some type of like celebrity type thing. It's like they're like, oh, who is like she has her face on the side of that. And again, it's an awesome picture. You even shared with me as we were getting ready for this. As your husband goes to check in these RV parks, they look at him, they look at the RV, and they're like, wait a minute, did you change your hair? Did you do your makeup differently? And he's like, no, that's me. I just, cut my hair recently.
Yeah.
But it's probably that type of celebrity status because you don't see like somebody's face plastered on the side of an RV that often.
Yeah, it's funny because I'm in the RV right now, and my husband is across at the pond talking to a guy, and they're currently pointing at the RV. And I can imagine that they are probably talking about what it is that we're doing right now. So it definitely is. It's there. It's doing what it's meant to, which is to make conversation. So
I was going to say that's exactly what it's all about, the conversation. But let's talk about the actual goal, the financial literacy piece, because as you're going from all these cities, from city to city, you are actually having classes. You are having, and you even told me you have an upcoming seminar, whatever you want to call it, in Orlando, I believe. Oh no, Tampa. That's sold out.
Orlando. Well, it's not sold out yet in Orlando, but it is in Tampa. Yeah.
So what is your goal when you're bringing these people together? What are you helping them? When you say financial literacy, I mean, again, you've put this entire journey together for this incredible cause. It's to teach people about financial literacy and the true incredible opportunity is to own a home.
Right. So again, we tie it back to, if as much as we can, to purchasing a home, because that tends to be most people's dreams when they are talking to me or to different people in my sphere. And I've partnered up, thankfully, with First Home IQ, and that is their mission, is to bring financial literacy to that next generation. Now, they gear it a little bit more towards that, again, next generation, which I love and is wonderful. So it really depends on the group of people I'm speaking to, because if it is that younger generation, I'm not telling them, okay, this is how you do your earnest money and this, that, and like we are getting down to, this is how you properly pay your credit cards. And this is how you get your credit scores up. And this is how, and so on and so forth. So it's really the basics of finance to help them better prepare going into adulthood. Whereas, if I partner up with an agent or a different nonprofit and their goal is to try to get their community into a home, then it's, hey, these are the basics of what you need. Consider this with your credit score and your earnest money, and make sure you don't make late payments and so on and so forth to better prepare them for that journey. So it really, again, just depends on what group of people I'm speaking to figure out where I have to gear it a little bit more towards.
That first and foremost, if any of you aren't aware, Kristen Meserly, Dave Savage, and the First Home IQ team have put together an incredible program that, as Jordan mentioned, that's what she's partnered with them and teaching the curriculum, teaching the things that they are sharing, because we do have a gap in education when it comes to a younger demographic and generation of home buyers. And that is their goal, is First Home IQ. They want to teach, they want to educate home buyers. They want to educate everybody who's looking to buy a home. What are the steps? Paying off credit cards. Like you mentioned, Jordan, there's so many little things that is not taught in schools that we need to share with this. So this journey along the way, you're teaching that, but you also shared with me, it's a great business building opportunity in the way of helping some agents. If you don't already follow Jordan, you need to go follow her on social media. As a matter of fact, if you don't even follow her on this, go follow her on her. You can actually follow her journey across the country. If you want to, where's Jordan? It's a little bit behind there getting it updated, but she's in Destin, Florida right now. You can follow her journey. Plus, go follow her on social media. She shares some insights. Her and I were just talking too. If you ever plan on taking a journey across the country, Jordan knows where to eat, where to stay, where to hang out, where to avoid, because she's seeing it all. But Jordan, as I mentioned, you also get the opportunity to work with realtors and real estate agents, teaching them about social media. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, so I have a lot of agents again that I've worked with because I carry my license in quite a few states, and then our team carries essentially almost the entire country. And so I get to work with amazing agents, but unfortunately, because I don't live there, I don't normally get to meet them. So I'm very fortunate with this trip that I not only have the opportunity to meet them, but also educate them a little bit better on social media because a lot of times I'll have agents that I find and I work with, and I'm like, hey, I do this on social media. This is how I got our mutual client. And then they'll follow me and say, well, how do you do that? Like, I really want to, and I want to be that go to agent in this particular neighborhood or this particular area. And I just can't figure out how to put it together. And so I have also decided along the way that why don't I educate agents as well? You know, it's not just the first time home buyers or that next generation trying to get into adult, you know, that young adulthood and take care of their credit, but there are a lot of agents out there that really want to better educate their community and be the go-to agent. So I've also decided, hey, let's go ahead and put some seminars together and educate them on this is how you want to communicate with the communities and be that go-to agent and really be the one who knows anything and everything there is about the area that you're servicing. So that has been really wonderful. And that's the sold out event out in Tampa next week, which I'm looking forward to. So that should be really fun.
That's again, not only are you educating home buyers, the next generation of home buyers, and teaching them financial literacy, but what a great way to work with referral partners, realtors, and all kinds of other people that you get to meet along this journey. Again, I know some people are thinking, well, I could never do this, and that's a little too extreme for me. I'm just like, but why? Like, you have the internet right with you. You, as mortgage professionals, we can travel, and whether maybe just take this for those who are thinking this is a little bit too grand, like you couldn't do it at scale. Take what Jordan is talking about and do it in your local community. There's plenty of opportunities. Just because Jordan is traveling the country, going from city to city to city doing this, you can do it right in your own backyard. There are plenty of opportunities for you to partner with First Home IQ and start doing things like this today. Jordan, I want to ask, so for those who are wondering, because I was very curious, how many miles, how many cities, how far are you actually going on this journey?
So from start to finish, we calculated it's about 12,000 miles, 50 cities in 32 states. That's
In
what we,
how many days?
6 months.
That's crazy. Basically, you're going to see the entire country in
Mhm.
6 months, hitting
Mhm.
all. Sure, and some of you are probably like, "Well, I live here. You're missing my home state." She can't see it all. Plus, who wants to see anything in South Dakota or North Dakota? Let's just be. I'm just kidding. I love all you out there, but again, you're hitting these stops along the way. You're teaching financial literacy. You're seeing some amazing things. Plus, I want to kind of like I got to give your husband props too. Give him a little bit of kudos because the guy like hitting that many stops, driving that much. Somebody who owns an RV, myself, I'm like that's a lot of driving. Like he's got to be dedicated to the cause as well. So, and you have a little one as well. You have a child, a baby
Yep.
you've brought on this journey.
Yeah, so my husband is a saint and an angel because he decided to go ahead and say, "You know what? I understand how committed you are to this and I love you and support you." So he took time off of work. And he is I mean, he's really the MVP of the trip. Like I'm the face of the trip, but he really is. Like he's the driver, the mechanic. Like he was changing the oil the other day. We had an issue with the hitch. The truck almost fell off. He's like, yeah, it was a whole thing, which is real fun when you're traveling. But he really does everything. So I'm super, super grateful that I have that support. We also, yes, have a 1 year old. Well, she just turned 1 2 weeks ago. Her name's Charlie, and she's living her best life. So I know she's not going to remember any of this, and it's going to be a lot of photos. And she's going to be like, "Why didn't you guys do this when I could remember?" And listen, we just had to roll with it. But there are definitely days when that gets trying, whether it's on him or me. So that's been a big, big adjustment for us. But we've been slowly getting into somewhat as much of a routine as we possibly can with that.
But that it's real life. That's what I love about it, Jordan. Is like, hey,
Yeah.
this is real. You're dealing with trucks almost falling up, your hitch coming off, things like again, we all, whether it's not that extreme in our day-to-day lives, we all deal with obstacles. We all deal with challenges, and we have to
Mm-hmm.
overcome them. And what better way? Like again, I'm right there with you. I understand that your 1 year old won't experience this, but this just either like this makes or breaks a relationship with you and your husband. Like it's either like, hey, we're gonna become stronger after this, or it's like, hey, love you. That was a nightmare, see you later, bye. But this is it for me. This is such a cool thing because again, you and your husband, your whole family are on this journey. You're going to these cities. You're sharing financial literacy with so many people, and you're enjoying the process. You're learning yourselves along the way, and you're sharing with others that you can do it as well. You can put yourself, as Sasha mentioned on this, like there is a need there. This is a meaningful opportunity to go out and do this. So I'm excited to continue to follow your journey. As we start to wrap things up here, I want to be, again, knowing that you have a very tight schedule, I don't want to take too much of your time, but are there any stops, any cities in particular that you're really looking forward to?
So I am looking forward, I mean, essentially to all of them. That's kind of how we plan the trip outside of, hey, we have agents here and nonprofits and things like that. But I'm really looking forward to Atlanta because there's quite a few nonprofits, a battered women's shelter I'm working with, uh, the Boys and Girls Club. So I'm looking forward to those because we already have those preset. As looking on it from a personal level, I'm really looking forward to the East Coast because that's a part of the country my husband nor I have really traveled outside of New York. So, like Boston, DC, we're going up to Maine. So, we're doing a couple little day trips, which is a lot easier on the East Coast since they're so much closer and smaller of states. So, that's definitely a part of the trip we're really looking forward to, especially because it'll be hopefully nice weather since it's going to be the summertime.
See, that's one other thing that you have to take into consideration too, the weather, where you're going. But yeah, looking at your schedule as you start to get to that East Coast, being able to see those things, being able to have those experiences. Again, what an amazing journey along the way. Plus, again, why you did this was helping spread financial literacy and really teaching that, educating, like the younger and even older dem. I keep saying younger, but there's a lot of older demographic and people that are needing this and again, you're inspiring and you're helping people every single day. So Jordan, you're an inspiration to us all. This is one of those things that, as I mentioned, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't follow Jordan, we'll drop her social media in all the comments. Go follow her, learn from her. She has an incredibly entertaining social media. If nonetheless, she just came out with how moms kill deal, or what was the post called?
Oh
How
yeah,
moms
the
mess up
mom
deals.
got a DUI. Yep. And she almost killed the deal because she got a DUI. And then she showed up to the closing hungover, probably drunk, and doesn't have any form of identification. And
Oh,
yeah, was
you
said
got to
that
go check it out.
she was told that, or she was never told that she needed it. And I'm like, that's not how that works. But okay.
That literally, that's okay. Before I wanted to wrap this up, but now we talk social media, and everybody knows I love social media. Social media to you, I mean, clearly it's something that you enjoy. Has it been a help for you in your business? Is this something that's part of this entire journey? What is social media to you as part of this?
100%. So if I didn't get on social media and really push to be consistent and authentic on there, there's no way I would have survived at the rate that I did in 2023. I would say my business, between 70 and 80% of my business comes solely from social media now. So
Say that
that
again.
has
I want you to
been,
say that
yeah,
again.
between 70 and 80% of my business comes solely from social media. And that has been so I'm like so appreciative for everybody that follows and supports me and trusts me. But it's really completely changed the way that I do business and putting myself out there and being consistent with it and realizing that I am truly helping people because they are coming back to me and saying, "Hey, I've been watching you for the last year. I feel like I have a really good grasp as to how to purchase a home, and you're the only one that I'm going to trust. Can you please help me?" And I love that. So it's the craziest thing to have somebody call you and say, "I know you don't know who I am, and I know you're exceptionally busy, but can you please help me? I found you on TikTok and I don't know who to trust other than you." And I'm like, how is
Wow.
this my life? This is insane. So it it's really interesting to see how much you really put into, because it's hard. Social media, as you know, it can be really lonesome. Like, yes, you can have people commenting and following you and liking your stuff, and like that's great, but you're not having these conversations like we are right here. There's no human interaction. So it can get very lonely, and it can get very difficult outside of, the time and effort you put into it. But it's like, oh, what I'm doing making a difference? Like, am I helping people? Is it truly resonating with them? Are they taking it and running with it? Is it helping them in some way, shape, or form? And then every so often I'll get those calls, because most of the time they just go on the website. But sometimes I'll get those calls and I'm like, oh, okay, that was that. I needed that today. I needed that phone call. Thank you so much. And it like gives me that extra push to keep moving forward.
Well, something you mentioned in there, I mean, that entire, everybody go back and listen to that segment, but you mentioned something that is so critical to social media. You mentioned that sometimes it's a year later. It's finally like, hey, we've been watching you for a year. You didn't even know this person existed. They're
Mhm.
just in the background. They're a follower. They're a supporter of your journey, all that you're doing. And a year goes by that you're just finally like, oh my gosh, like this guy started me watching, or this person watched me a year ago, and now it's finally coming to fruition. That's what this is all about, Jordan. That's, you
Oh
mentioned
yeah.
consistency. You got to continue to show up. You got to continue to be there, because you never know. And even as you said, sometimes they're going just straight to your website. They see it on your Instagram, they see it on your TikTok, and they're like, oh, I'm going to go see Jordan's website. I'm going to apply here. Social media, you mentioned, is one of the most powerful tools, and it builds those relationships if you do it in the right way. Like, what an amazing journey. One more thing. Now we got social media. Now you got me all
That's
excited
okay. I
about this
love
because there's
it.
so much.
We
So
could talk
what
forever about social media.
I say, you and I, we could, just because it's one of those things that's so impactful right now to everybody. How do you find that? Like, how do you know when to share? You mentioned something to me that's so, the fact that you said it just reiterates what I've said. Being authentic, being real, being genuine. How do you decide what you're going to post on social?
So when I start, or I should say before I started, I asked the three closest people to me to describe me. I said, if you were to go, if somebody came up to you and said, "Hey, you talk about Jordan, who is she? Like, talk to me about her." I asked my husband, I asked my best friend, and I asked a coworker. And I said, "Be honest with me. I want you to just tell me everything." And I took those lists, and some of them overlapped, which was really cool. And some of them were very different. Like, my best friend said, "Oh, I think you're really funny." And I'm like, "You do?" And she's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Well, if we've known each other for 16 years now, I guess she's got to be right in some way, shape, or form." But what I did was I took those and I really sat with them, and I was like, how am I funny, or how am I authentic, or how am I genuine and caring, and what is it that I do to make these people that surround me feel that way? Like, that's how they would describe me. So when I did that, I realized, okay, I do truly care about people, and I do really want to help as many as I possibly can. So I'm just going to put the basics out. Like, guys, if you are self-employed, this is what I fall issue, these are the issues that you generally come into when you're purchasing a home. And let's just break it down. Like, let's be really real and break it down. And that helped me, because a lot of people were like, "Oh, I didn't know that," or, "Hey, can you talk about this next?" And I didn't realize that I'm about to buy a home next year. So that really helped, because I knew that I wanted to just help people and break things down to the basics. And from there, it's interesting, because when you put content out, if it resonates with people, they will give you more ideas. Like, they will give you more content. They will ask questions. They will ask you, "Can you please make a video about this? Hey, I didn't know that. I wish I knew that, blah, blah, blah." They'll give you ideas and thoughts. And run with them, because that's what they're asking for. They want to know whatever the questions and the topics are that they're presenting back to you. So give that to your community. So for me, it's always test the waters with what feels authentic to you. If you love VA buyers, talk about VA loans. If you love the city of Dallas, Texas, what do you love about Dallas, Texas? Let's talk about that. What communities do you love? So figure out what's authentic to you, because if you hate working with, I don't know, investors, that's going to resonate in the fact that when you make your content. So talk about the things that you're passionate about, that feel true to who you are.
Oh, your community will give you content. Like you saying that, they really will. If you listen, if you engage with them, if you're sharing valuable insights, they're going to give you more ideas. They're there to engage with you, to share things with you as well. So listen to them, and they will give you endless amounts of content. Jordan, this has been an absolutely amazing conversation. We're so excited to follow you on your journey. As I mentioned, ladies and gentlemen, go follow Jordan. We've posted her social medias in the comments. Go follow her, support her in this. And as she even said, get great ideas from her. Watch her social media, what she is doing. She's here to help you grow as well. And if you want to see some of her stops, and if you want to even participate possibly, you can go, we'll drop this side, the mobilemortgagemom.com, and you can go and learn where she's going to be at, and you can possibly see her live. You can see the big old RV with Jordan's face on the side, and you can join her along the journey. Jordan, thank you so much for sharing your time. Thank you so much for everything that you're doing, inspiring, and your partnership with First Home IQ continuing to drive. So Jordan, what an amazing conversation, and we're supporting you left and right. We're excited for you.
Thank you. I appreciate your time today, and I'm looking forward to the rest of this trip. And yeah, just thanks again. I really do appreciate it.
It is our pleasure. Safe travels. Give your husband a huge hug and tell him, like, hey, keep going, my friend. Stay awake out there, or from city to city. We're excited. We're rooting you guys on. So, ladies and gentlemen, as always, this has been an amazing conversation. Please go support Jordan. Go follow her along the journey, because as I mentioned, this is one of those things, every once in a while you meet somebody who just is doing it differently, who just takes it to the next level. And Jordan is absolutely doing that and taking financial literacy to an all new place. We're so supportive of her. And as always, we're so very grateful for all of you for joining us. As always, we appreciate you. We love you. Now it's time for all of you to go shred, go show up, hustle, repeat every day. See ya.